Hello, this is Vera. I am here in Greece again, and I am here on the island of Delos, and I just come across this construction over here, and what puzzled me at first was those knobs. I mean, these are huge knobs. Again, some of the construction we can find all over the world, in Peru and also here in Greece. It's that stuff is worn, but there's certain things you still can find. To be careful to not to stomp it on anything. And here there are lots of people over here. And now there's a group tour who is sitting near those construction, but here you can see those knobs. Very interesting. Like someone wants us to see that and recognize that that's it's some construction you can find all over the world. Of course, it's different rocks over here. I don't want to go. Yes. Anyway. Here you can see one of the wall that's probably recently, or it has been reconstructed in very not long ago. And here you can see those indentation that you can find all over Greece. Kind of where you put rocks together. It's like almost like a Lego. You put them together. Something has to fit in that square to hold up something. Here another piece that's very important, where square has been digged in, like with a machine. I'm not sure, but it's not a clear, but over the time it must have eroded. But you can see this part was used for something else, and I guess when they picked it up they did not know much to do with the rest of it here, because this one here does not fit with this one. This seemed to be, it was part of maybe a door or a ceiling, something to hold on something that fits in there. So again we see two different construction. The one over here very simple, very that we see in many of the ancient ruins. And then you see this very sophisticated, which does not really fit together. And I think they put this piece here to show you the difference of it. This does not fit with this. It does not. Here again, it's a bowl, like created from this rock. I forget what's the name of this. I know it's used here in Greece a lot, but if you go inside, it's very smooth, very, very smooth. Very smooth. I believe it's alabaster. Yeah, alabaster, that's the name of this type of rock. alabaster, so someone, see, it's very smooth, very smooth. You can feel nothing. It's like it's done with a machine. Interesting. I think somebody put it there to let us know the difference. Here again you can see like entrance where they try to reconstruct something similar in Mycenae, but Mycenae is much more massive. I think this is very of poor quality how they did this. It doesn't hold on very strong. Again, you can see this piece of work in precision was something to put in something different. What it was used for, we don't know. It's done with very smooth precision. And here, the wet here over here, very precise, very different than what we see over there. You know, totally different. Is it different? Somebody came over here and reconstructed the way they knew how, but this is totally different civilization. Here again you can find some writings, but it's from a very crude origin. So I believe the people that came after that tried to claim it, like they do in Egypt, where some of the hieroglyphs are done with a very crude origin. I think this came much after, and maybe they claimed it. Again, one was the famous knob again, huge knob. This has been represented for us to figure out maybe. And here, interesting, you can see where they start something, and I guess maybe they stopped. See, this is in here. They stopped where they cut through there. Maybe. This famous knob, this huge knob. This is even much used as bigger than the one at the gate of Naxos. Huge knob, extremely huge. Here another one again. For what they were used for, we still don't know. Nobody knows. It's beautiful here. Another indentation, and I want to go inside. Here you see this is done to fit into something. Here the same thing. Interesting. So maybe those knobs was in there, but I don't think that they really fit that much. But very interesting with the precision technology. And you can see over here too. Here I got again those platform with knobs. Look at this huge knob. Seem to be some of them much bigger than others. I guess the way they have been preserved. Again, a perfect square. It's like a Lego game over here. Like Lego, out of alabaster. Here is supposed to stay the temple of Apollo. If you go to Delphi, they will tell you that Apollo was the sun god, the sun, represented the sun, not a man, who they call Helios. So it was the sun that we see over here. I cannot go there, it's too bright. But it was not a man. It was the sun, which is a star. This is the head of the bull, which represent constellation Taurus, which is part of the zodiac. So this was the constellation of the bull. We have again the same thing that I found on the Peloponnese at Argos near the amphitheater. You can see that. So this is when they was in the constellation of Taurus. That's what I mean. So I'm coming back over there. So basically, while the bull is there, is because at one point the sun was in constellation Taurus, and when it was not, those temples was no more important. Like in the Bible, when Moses came down the hill and destroyed the golden calf because the sun was no more in constellation Taurus. That's what it is. So all this temple over here, all this over here could be, like Jesus said, not one stone gonna remain on top of each other, because it was no more in the constellation of Taurus. They moved to a different house. That's what I mean. Reading the stars. One over here. Bigger blocks of stones. Again, there has been fixed with a lower quality. Something you can find in Mycenae, but I think in Mycenae more bombastic. These lions, I think there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Seven lions was over here. Maybe more than that. Maybe more than that. Yes. Actually, it says over here that it was the line of Naxos, and they had about about 19, between 19 and 20 lions. So the lion has to be something to do with the sun. Usually 7 suns. So all this is related with Naxos. Very interesting. The sacred lake of the Naxian. To me, they look like lions. They don't look like lions, the real lion. It looks like they're lioness. 7 lionesses, maybe 19 together. Could be. This is the Temple of Poseidon, and you probably know he's the god of the sea. But I think there's a much deeper story about Poseidon. Much deeper than that. Much deeper. Maybe we're gonna find this out. There's something about Poseidon. Yeah, I'm still doing research on that. Here's an archaeologist digging out some more. Here's old-time digs are down here. Here is our famous clamp again, that you can find all over the world. Famous clamp. You find it in India, you find it in Egypt, in Peru, everywhere. Here is something fantastic over here. These pillows over here are made of granite, just like in Egypt. Not with pieces put together like Lego, but dug them out of the ground, out of granite. Incredible. So that must be even older than the other one with alabaster. That is extremely old. Extremely old. See, they put them in. These are pillows out of granite, my friends. What you can find in Egypt. This is granite. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Totally different technology again. I don't want to say that alabaster was inferior. I mean, it was amazing too. We cannot even do the alabaster thing. But this one are the pillows of granite. This over here looks Roman to me. So basically everything what you see around here is Roman. With a lesser quality of building. Yeah, that's Roman. And here the bath. The bath. I think this was the bath over here. Yeah. That is Roman. So everything what you see around here is Roman. It's like when you go to Machu Picchu, you see most of them is Inca and the rest of them is of much more sophisticated construction. You see the granite that you find in Egypt, which is hard to dig out to put them out of the ground. Incredible. Here again is an arch made of very much Roman. That's what you can find when you go to Roman architecture. So basically most of them is Roman. Some of them is Naxian, and over there something Egyptian. Here another clamp where they put rocks together. Here it says Palestre de Granit, which is French. Granite means granite. Amazing. Amazing, absolutely amazing. And most people are not even around here. Incredible. Look at this clamp. I never seen a huge clamp like that. Look at this clamp. It's humongous. Biggest clamp I ever seen. You see that? Amazing. absolutely amazing. All this is Roman. It says over there that it was Roman. All this, everything what you see, most of them is Roman. Some pieces of Greece, and probably back there with the granite was Egyptian. So who was here building all this thing? Here is someone on a ship. So it has something to do with maritime culture. Maybe Poseidon, Lord of the Sea, who knows? See, this one is the vase with, they were saying that there was black. Could be possible that there was Africans, maybe. It says that there were black, and there was part of Hercules. It was the gift of Hera. So we have the goddess Hera involved in here, who is the wife of Zeus. Interesting. And you find some more lions. It looks like to me they're lioness. They don't look like they're male lions. They're lioness. Here's again this swastika that was famous, very famous in ancient time. And most of it, what says back there was so many people that could not film anything, is Ophellius, I believe. He was a merchant from Rome who mainly rebuilt this place. And most of them, what you can see, is Roman. I believe here it's a mosaic, and I think this is the mosaic for the temple of Dionysus, the god of wine and madness. Dionysus in Egyptian is also Osiris. Interesting. I did not know that. Then I did my research. Some people say no, some people say yes, but Dionysus, the son of Zeus, and the son of Io. I believe Io was the name. Which I think Osiris represent constellation Orion. I was wondering too who really he was. Sometimes he reminds me of Hercules, because when you go to New York and you go to the Central Station, at the ceiling you see a guy who's fighting a lion and a boar, and they say that he is Orion. He looks very much like Hercules. So who knows? They keep it between so many different names. Pillow of Osiris. Here is polygonal structure again. Sorry, I have a twisted tongue. Polygonal structure. Yeah. This looks very interesting over here. This is the things you find in the mountains, like very old stone stuck on top of each other. They look like natural, but I doubt it. You can find this in northern Germany and in the Appalachian, and even at the Garden of the Gods in Missouri, not Missouri, but Illinois. Yes, this looks very old. That does not look like natural. This looks like something been built on top of something totally different. And then there's a pond there too, which is very important. So maybe that was a very ancient well. Very ancient well. God knows what's underneath there. That's the Temple of Isis. That's what it says over there. So this seems to be like what it says, Temple of Isis. She's right there in the middle. Here's the Temple of Hera, also called Herarion. She's actually was the wife of Zeus. Zeus was riding an eagle, so that represents Rome. And believe it or not, there is a star system of the eagle. They're called Aquila. That's what the name is. The star system of Rome and the eagle is Aquila, which is in the northern stars, in the northern part of our Milky Way galaxy. It's beside Cygnus. And Cygnus represents Hera, the wife of Zeus. She represents the swan. She also represents the vulture. If you go to Egypt, you will see Isis wearing a vulture cap with beside it a snake. So I believe that probably Isis and Hera are one of the same. Yeah, I believe so. I may be wrong, but it could be very, very possible.